My dear sisters and brothers, for the past 3 days, we have been encountering various questions coming from the congregation, be it scribes, Pharisees, Herodians, and coming up with these loaded, double-edged questions. But turning the tables, Jesus is asking us a question today, asking the crowd a question. What is his question? This again could be theological or philosophical, but he's asking, if David called the Son of God his Lord, how can he, the Son of God, be the son of David alone? You got the point? Now, this was pretty interesting, and this was needed to clarify, because at that time of Jesus, they expected for a Messiah to be a great king, a political leader, someone who would restore Israel's earthly glory as a mighty emperor. But this Jesus was born of Mary, of Joseph, and coming, living as like any one of us. And they did not expect salvation to be like this. And so they were referring to him as Son of David, Son of David, Son of David. But then he's trying to convince them that he's not only the Son of David, but also the Lord of David. He's not only human, but he's also divine. And this debate continues in our lives in different ways, degrees, and intensities, even today, my dear sisters and brothers. Often it is easy for us to accept the sonship of the Lord. It's not challenging, because when we accept him as a teacher, as an inspirational figure, as a companion, as a friend, it is easy for us to relate to. But the challenge comes when we have to say your lordship instead of saying your sonship, because that demands so much of us. Because when we say Lord, it implies consequences. For example, if a teacher, I can choose to accept what type of teachings I want to adhere to. If he's only an inspirational figure, I can admire him from a distance. If he is only a historical figure, I can study him and move on, like a history, reading a book. But if he is the Lord, he has a claim on my life. Then all my opinions, my priorities, my ambitions, my plans, my future must be aligned according to his will. So perhaps in this modern world, we prefer a Jesus who comforts us rather than a Lord who challenges us. A Jesus who blesses our plans rather than a Lord who asks us to change them constantly, perhaps. A Jesus who walks with us in our struggles rather than a Lord who asks us to forgive, love, sacrifice, serve, and carry our cross daily. So the question for us today is not merely who is Jesus to me, but who is Jesus for me at this moment of my life. So let us ask ourselves these questions. How do I usually approach Jesus in my daily life? Simply as a friend, teacher, helper, comforter, or someone I admire at a distance? Or as the Lord who guides and shapes my desires, my decisions, my priorities, my future. In other words, how do I address him in my daily life? As your lordship or as your sonship? Just as we address our bishops, Your Excellency, President. Are there areas in my life, my relationships, finances, ambitions, habits, and plans that I'm reluctant to place under the lordship of Christ, and why? And then finally, how do I make his lordship present in my sonship and daughtership or companionship to him in the way I speak, act, make choices, and carry my entire being?